Hi, Andrea here. I hope you're doing well. The topic today is inspired by a comment that I received on a recent video that I published. The video on are carbohydrates essential to human beings? And the outcome of that video was that they are not essential. But the comment was, the carbohydrates are essential to my happiness. And when I read that, I kind of half smiled because I used to say that too. That was my classic go-to line when talking about sugary things, carbohydrates, saying that like a croissant, a cookie is good for my soul, is good for my mood, is good for my happiness. I used to think that. I used to believe that. And I'm pretty sure that this person, this friend that commented, believes it. And if I believed it, and this friend believes it, chances are you believe it too. So let's address that. Is that true that those foods, those highly palatable, sugary carbohydrates foods, are those really good for our soul? Are they good for our happiness? Well, I think that when we say that, we confuse happiness with pleasure. To understand that, or at least to understand the part of pleasure, you should probably review my video on addiction and dopamine and how dopamine affects our brain. A quick recap of that, I'll put the link up here. Whenever you experience pleasure, dopamine gets released, and there is a mechanism in our brain that basically tries to keep the pain-pleasure balance in homeostasis. So whenever you release dopamine, that balance gets tipped on the side of pleasure. And there are mechanisms in the brain to put pain on the other side, to bring back the balance. So when that happens, the scale tips on the side of pain for a little bit, and that's when you experience pain. And you experience the craving for that particular thing. You want more of that. If you don't indulge, then the pain goes away and your balance goes to homeostasis and you're fine. But if you do indulge, so if you do go for that thing and you respond to the call for additional pleasure, then you tip the scale again on the side of pleasure. And then a vicious cycle starts. So at a certain point you have a lot of pain on the other side of the scale, and at the end of the day you are always in constant pain. It's not like you are feeling the pain, a physical pain, but it's a mental pain. And so you're always craving. After a while you need to get more of that substance more often to feel the pleasure. Basically, you get addicted. You are a junkie. So when you say that they are essential to your happiness, you're actually confusing happiness with your addiction, with short-lived pleasure. And probably you don't realize it because we have made those foods accepted, socially accepted. But think of other substances that trigger the same mechanism and might elicit the same comment from the abuser. Alcohol. Imagine a person that indulges in alcohol too much, and then you say, hey, alcohol is not good for you. It's not essential for your life. You should not drink it so often. And that person will come back and say, oh, but it's essential for my happiness. It's triggering the same mechanism. Drugs, same thing. Would you say to a drug addict, yeah, that drug is essential to your happiness? You wouldn't. And the distinction is the social acceptance to that substance. So we have made all our processed foods, the sugary foods, the highly refined carbohydrate foods, socially acceptable. We believe that those are human foods and they're good for us. So another spin on this topic is thinking about what those foods do to us, to our health in the long term. So all those foods, the highly processed, highly sugary, highly refined carbohydrates foods, all those contribute to all the modern diseases. And unfortunately, they don't do it from one day to the other. You don't see it immediately. It's not like you eat that food, you eat the cookie, and the day after or immediately after you see the effects. Let's list some of those issues. Cognitive decline is a big one. Hypertension, obesity, heart disease, etc., etc. The list goes on and on. So if you think about it, on one side you are thinking, oh, I need to eat that stuff because it makes me happy, confusing happiness with pleasure. And then after a few years, many years, decades, you get cognitive decline, you get hypertension, you get coronary artery disease. And that's not happiness. You will lower your life expectancy and the quality of your life because you have eaten those things and many other things. So again, I'm not here on my high horse saying, oh, you don't understand anything. No, I thought that way too. It took me a long time to wrap my head around these concepts and to understand how perverted is the way we think today. So don't take it personally. It's not an attack on you. It's not an attack on the way you think. We are all in the same boat. We are trapped. We are trapped in this vicious cycle. And I'm still trapped, even if I'm talking to you about these concepts. When I eat a cookie, it's bliss. I love it, unfortunately, but it's bad. It's bad for our health. All right, I hope this was useful. I hope it makes you think, even if I've not convinced you completely. Hopefully it will plant a seed in your mind and you will start thinking, and maybe in a few months you will come to terms with these concepts. All right, I hope you found this video useful. If you did, like it on YouTube, subscribe to my channel, share it with your friends or family members that might need help in losing weight or solving a food problem. If you're still not convinced, if you don't know where to start, if you need help, contact me. We can have a chat, or you can hire me as a coach and I can help you out. All right? I hope to hear from you soon. Bye.